Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Ultra Naté, and you're watching PromoHomo.TV.
Queer TV.
Hi, after Carrie, I want my queer TV.
We want our queer TV.
I am Christina Applegate, and I want my queer TV.
I am Katie Seagal, and you are watching Tinseltown's Queer from the Playboy Mansion. I mean, how cool is that?
It's very cool.
We're at the Playboy Mansion.
Well, welcome.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. I'm Nicholas Snow, your promo homo, and this is a very special episode of Promo Homo TV. All of my episodes are special. I always feel that way. And it's Pride Month, so and I'm doing something differently. So all of my original shows will originate on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV. A network, youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV network. And then they will rebroadcast on my various social media platforms because I frankly want to give my YouTube followers most of the love with the new broadcast to build the channel. So that's what's up, and this is going out live on my YouTube channel the first day of Pride Month, June 1st, 2023 at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Well, singer-songwriter, DJ, producer, and music legend Ultra Naté closed the show May 14th, 2023 at White Party Global's iconic Tea Dance, which concludes the annually celebrated 3-day music festival. Now, earlier in the day, I got together with guest co-host Jonathan P. Mugridge, and we caught up with Ultra to talk about her deep roots, overcoming racism then and now, her early involvement in the fight against HIV/AIDS, and more. And our cameras also capture her legendary performance of Free. So, Baltimore singer-songwriter, DJ and producer, and music legend Ultra Naté, as we learn at ultranaté.com, has been adored by electronic, dance, and pop fans since the early 90s. Ultra is celebrating her 30th plus year in the game, having debuted on the scene in 1989 with the early underground favorite It's Over Now, and her revered 1990 album Blue Notes in the Basement, which spawned the hits Rejoicing, Deeper Love, Scandal, and Is It Love. Ultra was one of the first house music artists signed to a major label deal when she linked with Warner's UK, and there's so much we could say about Ultra, but I really don't want to leave my special guest waiting, because Jonathan, who was with me that day, is with me now. Welcome to the show, Jonathan Mugridge.
Hey, Nicholas, it's good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to see you as well, and you know, for as many times as you and I have done shows together, this is the first time you're ever connecting to my virtual studio.
It is, and it's such a treat with it being June 1st. Happy Pride.
Thank you. And just a little tip for you. Look at the camera on your phone, not at yourself. Yay! That's good. You might forget to do that. It's natural.
I was looking at you. I was looking at you.
Yeah, no, don't look at me. Stop! So, first of all, hats off to you, because it was your diligence and your connection that you already made with Ultra Naté. By the way, Lance Druckerman is watching live. He and his partner Gary Stewart are PromoHomo.TV superstars, which gives me a good opportunity, Jonathan, to let everybody know that you can become a PromoHomo.TV superstar for as little as $1 a month. Gary and Lance are associate producers of the show. They chose one of the higher levels, but I also give shout-outs, Jonathan, to my most recent PromoHomo.TV superstars. So I want to thank Lawrence Whiting and Leon Accord for coming on board recently, and I want to thank John Lindner and Kelly Marino. Kelly Marie Marino was one of my original supporters, and she's back. So I really want to give them a shout-out, and I always promise shout-outs on the show. At any rate, welcome to a virtual studio broadcast.
Absolutely.
So, I would love to know, before I take a break to acknowledge my sponsors, and then we'll get to the Ultra interview, tell me how you first connected with Ultra.
Well, how I first connected with Ultra, I think was probably how we all first connected with Ultra was from her hit song "Free," and then over the years, just being I come from the Detroit area. I grew up there, so that was my scene back in the day, and that type of house music was really prevalent in the area. And I also used to DJ as well, so I remember DJing and playing her song. Now we're going back. But I just felt I felt a connection with her lyrics as well. And a few years back, during Cathedral City Pride Days, they had her as one of the headliners. And I just did a little meet and greet after her performance, and we kikied, we kicked it off. We had some fabulous time together, and friended each other on social media. And so she actually turned out to be the surprise performer for the T-Dance this year, and it was announced just about a week or so before the actual show. So as soon as I saw the announcement, I messaged her. I said, "Hey, let's get together, can we?" And she was more than gracious with her time, and you know the rest of the story.
Totally. And we're going to hear a fascinating interview with Ultra coming up next, and you're going to want to stay tuned. So Jonathan and I will be right back. PromoHomo.TV is all about empowering you, our communities, and our world. For their support of PromoHomo.TV, I wish to thank my sponsors. DAP Health. I've been a grateful client of DAP Health for more than a decade. One of their value statements, we welcome all people, period.
Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running.
Willie's Modern Fare, 1501 Uptown Gastropub, and 849 Restaurant and Lounge. 3 restaurants, unlimited flavors. Shouting out to my media partners. Pink Media, amplifying PromoHomo.TV across the Twitterverse with their #ILoveGay campaign. David Perry and Associates, a PR and marketing firm. GayDesertGuide.lgbt. And KGay 1065 Palm Springs, available worldwide. Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY. And last but not least, the PromoHomo.TV superstars who voluntarily subscribe to the free content at PromoHomo.TV for as little as $1 a month. Join them at patreon.com/PromoHomo.TV. Meet many of them at PromoHomo.TV/superstars. Now here's how you can step up to the plate. To find out how you can help me empower you, our communities, and our world, visit PromoHomo.TV/empower. Thank you. And once again, a big thanks to everyone that steps up and helps support the network. So, Jonathan, I also want to give a shout out to Anil Patel from White Party Global, and also Phil Lobel and Sean from the PR team for always facilitating our great access to that event. We couldn't have
absolutely
done it without them. And Anil was particularly helpful in helping us do this interview at the sound check the day of the performance. So it's been a while since we've done the interview, a couple weeks, but is there a question you wish you had asked?
Yeah, but she had answered it when she performed. So I think the only question I wanted to sincerely ask was, when can I see you again?
Oh, okay then. Well,
yeah,
which is a completely different song by someone else.
Yeah.
That's When Will I See You Again. All right, so I think we should just play the interview and then come back and talk about it. And but before I do that, you saw some of my footage of her performance. What do you think of that footage? How close up it is?
I actually got goosebumps because it took me right back to that moment. That's what I love about music, and that's what I love about a deep, full meaning performer and who's there in all of her heart. I felt like I was instantly transported there, and it's great. I look forward to seeing the interview.
Okay, so we're going to play the interview, and then we're going to have the performance from Free at the White Party, and you're going to want to stick around. Hello everybody, Nicholas Snow here with PromoHomo.TV, along with Jonathan P. Mugridge, my special White Party co-host, correspondent, and the world-famous, most fabulous Ultra Naté. Oh my goodness, I'm going to faint.
Thank you, darling, and thank you so much. And hey, everybody out there.
And it's so gracious of you to provide us with this interview, because I know you get lots of requests. And Jonathan, thank you for setting it up.
Sure,
and I'm giving you the first question.
Yes. Well, once again, welcome back. It's such a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
And we're so always happy when we get to have you here in the desert, because you're such a gift, not only to our community, but to the dance community throughout the world. Is there anything that stands out for you with Palm Springs and your relationship with it?
I love Palm Springs. I mean, everything about the desert, it's so calming and peaceful. I've always loved this part of the world, and I don't get to come to California very often, but when I get to Southern California, it's really, really special. I think there is a really beautiful energy here. Everyone seems very open and free, for lack of a better word, but just the vibes are so welcoming. It's a real sense of community in Palm Springs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that inspires me about your story is that you broke away from the resistance of certain labels to mold your career, because you had a very clear vision of who you wanted to be, and that is what led to Free. Am I characterizing that correctly? And what would you like to say about what really inspired you to honor your truth and to perhaps let go of opportunities you weren't sure would come again?
Well, I think youth is the first thing, because when you're young and you're just kind of like being creative, you take the risks. You're not afraid to step out on faith. Well, at least I wasn't anyway. And I always felt like this career, this whole creative platform opened up to me, and it was a gift to me, and therefore I was working in my purpose, and to trust that it was going to take me where I was supposed to be, because there were no guarantees, even with the path that I thought I was going to be on, which was going into medicine, going to school for like a million years and becoming a doctor and all of that. And suddenly I kind of fell into the music business by accident with no experience writing songs, singing, or any of that, and ended up with a major label deal in the UK and singing to people that got it. They got these songs that I was writing, these stories that I was telling just of my own thoughts and feelings, and making them their own, and it was speaking to people. So that was really empowering in and of itself. So I really felt like At that stage of my life, I had nothing to lose. And then when that deal was over with Warner, before Free came into being, I had no deal. And so it was really like I was at the crossroads. And when you're at that crossroads in your life, it's really, you take stock of what you've accomplished, you evaluate what you're doing, and if you want to continue on that path or if you want to change directions. We decided this was the path, we being myself and my management. And so it was in that moment, with nothing to lose, having no guarantees in place, that we wrote Free with my producers, Mood to Swing at the time, and really let the chips fall, because we had no idea that people would even like the song, like the next album that I was putting together. It was really all just taking those chances. And I think that's the biggest messaging that I can give to people out there, is to just kind of trust your instinct, trust that voice in your head, trust that passion in your heart, trust the God, whatever spirit that speaks to you, that universal spirit that speaks to you and guides you to just step out there on faith and let the chips fall. Let it guide you where your purpose is.
Another thing that I found very inspirational about you, I'm living with HIV, and we're 40 years into the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Undoubtedly, you've lost many friends and loved ones to AIDS, but you were one of the first artists to lend one of your songs to a compilation album to fight HIV and AIDS.
Yes. I mean, for years I've been working with organizations like Lifebeat way back in the early 90s, and then, continuing now with the Red Hot compilations, and just being able to speak to that. The LGBTQIA community has always been a strong supporter of my music. They've always been involved, even from my career perspective, in every area of my art. From people that I've collaborated with to people that, in terms of making the music, producing the music, writing the music, photos, people in my label, management, like from all levels, there has been that sense of community. But really, it even started even before I became an artist, just my group of friends at home, my Baltimore kids, the Queens, really amazing, beautiful, talented people that were taken away because of the AIDS epidemic. And so it hit really close to home. So it's always been something that's been very close to my heart.
I have another important question. I'm going to save it for the end. Take it away, Jonathan.
So you said that you were going in a medical direction.
Mm-hmm.
Would that loan to Found a Cure, the hit that you came out with?
Well, the whole Situation Critical album was geared towards healing. I mean, that was the basic story. And the way that I've always approached my album projects is to come up with the framework of what this album is to talk about as a complete body of work. This whole age of you're just doing singles that are just kind of compartmentalized into one thing. That was never the school that I was brought up on. So I always work from the body of work of what this whole story is as a full composition. Yeah. And so starting with that thematically of healing within myself, and how does that speak to other people? How do you put that out there in the world? What do people need to hear? What do people need from you? And that's where I worked from. So yes, every song from Free, Found a Cure, New Kind of Medicine, all of the tracks on that particular album as a work, not just an isolated track in and of itself, were to speak to the story of how to bring something to people that goes beyond that dance floor moment. Definitely you want to reach people on the dance floor, because it's club culture that my art is built in. But what did they take away from that after that moment? How does this serve them beyond the dance floor? And 20, 40 years from now, how does this still speak to people?
Yeah.
And it's been successful in that way. Like, I've had people tell me, like, I was, about to commit suicide, your song spoke to me, or people were coming out and they felt really afraid. Their family had disowned them. They had no loved ones, and they were kind of lost. And these songs really, helped them and fortified them, and found and looked at them as humans, found their humanity. And that's the biggest piece of all of it, is that when you take away all of these existential things, like when you dial it all down, it's really about the humanity of the individual that we need to really focus on.
Yeah, and when to put it to layman's terms, but that was so eloquently said. You basically put soul into the music.
Mm-hmm.
You put your soul into the music. Is that the same album with Love Is the Only Drug?
Love Is the Only Drug
I
was
love that
actually
song.
From Grimesuck and Thunder album, which was like 2 albums later.
I'm talking Strictly Necessary Days.
But I love that Love Is the Only Drug. But yeah, that was the difference. That was the Grimesuck and Thunder story, and that was actually around 2003. 2005, when things started getting really hairy with the music business. It kind of spiraled out. No one knew if we were even going to have a music industry, and the business model had changed, and there was a lot of interpersonal things going on, and the world had changed because then the 2008 recession happened. So all of that was talking about, you know, the trickiness that we were dealing with. So, you know, at the end of the day, when I put songs out that are speaking about love and togetherness, and how do we like get past our differences and speak to our humanity, like this is the grounding point for all of this music.
And I don't want to, you know, she's got such a collection that we can sit and talk about
Forever.
the history, but I'd like to be more recent with your current album that was released last year, 2022, Ultra.
Yes. Thank
Why
you.
why the name Ultra? Ultra.
Well, for many reasons. One is it was my 10th album, and I just felt like 10 was really, really significant. And what better way to celebrate that than by self-titling the album? I felt like it really encompassed everything that I had been doing for the last 30 plus years as an artist, and reaching a level or a point in my own life where I could sit back and take stock of what I've done and what I've accomplished and be good with it. Like if it were over tomorrow, I would completely be happy with the body of work that I've put out there and what my legacy is. And the fact that there's still so much music that I still have left to do. I mean, I have archives of songs that haven't even seen the light of day. The Ultra album was really what we needed, I felt like, after going through the pandemic and all of that. And again, losing a lot of people in a very short amount of time. And I personally lost a lot of folks. And it was a really traumatic time. And I went through a lot, like everyone else out there in the world. I went through all the trauma, you know, all the grief, and it was immense. And I needed to work through those things, and that therapy was creating the Ultra album in that lockdown time. And how am I healing myself, but also speaking to other people and giving them what they need out there in the universe.
And on top of that, it's an amazing album. Like, it harkens back to the 90s. You've got house in there. I hear some Live and Joy in there.
Yeah, you got to do it, because there's so many subgenres of dance music now.
So many.
You know,
So
and
many.
I've done so many of those in all the areas, you know what I mean? My career has been all over the place with the different kinds of music under this grand umbrella of dance music. And I'm very proud of that, because not a lot of artists have had that kind of luxury, you know? So I celebrate that, and that's also part of what the composition of Ultra album is.
We don't want to hold you hostage, so think of a final question, Jonathan. And I mentioned I had a big question for Ultra. It's not lost on me that a lot of artists of African American descent needed to go to Europe to find success because of racism in the United States. And I was, do you concur with me that racism was a barrier when you were coming up, and that was one of the reasons that you needed to go to Europe? And how do you feel about opportunities for Black artists today in the face of rising hate that's being levied against so many of us?
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. That's, you know,
We better go sit
be
in the
here for
trailer.
an hour for that one.
Get a chair.
Move over, Barbara Walters.
Another chair.
Don't get me started. But you know, the short answer is, you know, again, with my particular story, the way my career came together, there was no pressure on me, because I fell into a situation where I created a song as a lark, as a moment, had no expectation, and it, by just, you know, the way that things happened and fell in place, I ended up with a major label deal on Warner Brothers in the UK, where there was the proper audience for what I was doing. But what I was doing was underground in the US, and I was good with that because I didn't have the aspiration of being an artist in that way. But for people that are doing that from go, they're like building it and they're working and they're trying to accomplish this thing as, you know, as young people. There are those barriers. There were then, they still are there. Those barriers always exist. Race is behind everything, and anyone that says I don't see color is absolutely lying, because race drives everything in this country. It's what this country was founded on. And so, you know, when you start to unpack why these things are, at the end of everything, it comes down to that. So the great thing about Europe and dance music is that they never had the backlash with disco to just add another layer to that. You know, dance music kind of became the daughter of disco, and this country, the rock music industry and all the politics that were going on at that particular time in the 70s into the 80s went against disco music, and so it kind of died here, but that didn't happen in Europe. So there was always a fan base for dance music in Europe that we didn't have here in this country. So that was also a part of that layer. It was easier because there was a fan base in Europe to make the music that I wanted to make and receive it. The second half of my deal with Warner transferred to the US, and it didn't work so well because there wasn't really a platform for dance music that catered to so many different demographics. And that's just the politics of what dance music is here. So, you know, we could go all day about it, but there is that racism in the mix. There are things that are improving. And I feel like, yes, there are a lot of artists that are winning, but there are a lot more artists that are struggling and not being able to make a living, but yet their art is being appropriated by other people. And, you know, it's problematic. We have more tools these days, you know, with social networking and things like that, being able to create your own music and market it and promote it. But then you have a lot of people out there doing that, so then the music becomes saturated. So it is still harder.
Well, I just want to say that I'm an ally. I strive to be an ally. I strive to ask these sorts of questions, to reveal the truth.
No, I appreciate that, because a lot of people don't quite understand that. Even now in this business model that we're working in now, it's still hard to be a black female vocalist, especially if you're considered a real singer, because the music has changed and evolved in so many ways with electronica that the DJs or, you know, the producer is now the artist, and the voices that are black voices sometimes are obscured by who's put up front. Who's put up front is where the budgets are being spent, and they're not being spent on black women. Like, I don't have a major label deal right now. I've been completely independent for probably the last 20 years.
There's power in that, though, right?
Absolutely. There are definitely ups and there are downs.
Jonathan.
There's so many things that you said that just struck memories. I used to DJ, and I remember when I used to play your song when it first came out. The anthem that it's become for not only like the dance scene, but for the LGBTQ plus community.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see it taking shape the way it's literally an anthem of political spectrum?
Yeah, I had no idea. The great thing about when we wrote Free is that you have to remember, like, I had already been on a major. I had already accomplished this amazing thing of putting out these records, being on a major, face around the world, things like that. And so I was at that crossroads, and I was like, okay, I can just go back to doing medicine now, or should I keep making music? I opted to keep making music, but with no guarantees. So when we went in the studio to write Free, we didn't go in approaching it like, this is what people are going to like, or, you know, this is what's hot on radio. This was the last big hit, so let's make it sound like this. We went in with, what kind of record did we actually really want to make, no matter what the outcome and no matter whether people get it or not. And that kind of attitude is really what brought Free on, because if we had taken stock of all those other elements, that would have never come out. It would have been something very, very safe. Free, the way we put Free together, the type of song, the way it sounded sonically was not the norm, and it would have never saw the light of day by any other circumstances. It was definitely the confluence of a lot of different elements, including the label Strictly Rhythm, that basically gave me carte blanche to just make the kind of record that I wanted to make. Some labels would have been like, this is the kind of record we want, this is what's happening in the charts, this is what we need you to do. Yeah. There was none of that. So we did have complete license to make any kind of record. And we knew we wanted to make something with guitars leading it, with a very bittersweet kind of guitar that pulled at the emotional aspect, and the driving guitars to ride the rhythm to keep the dance pocket going, and the drums needed to do this, and the story needed to do that. And there were a lot of different elements and complete freedom, for lack of a better word, to make whatever kind of record we wanted to make. And then the label behind it that may or may not have gotten it when we turned it in, but they were like, this is what we got. Let's, put all our guns behind it and make it work, get it to the right DJs. And the DJs made the decision immediately. Louis Vega, I credit Louis all the time as being one of the first DJs from the underground scene that took that promo and smashed it at the Winter Music Conference that year. And all of the DJs fell in love with it because it was so distinct and so different. But it was a real gamble. It could have been completely a different thing.
And do you remember back then, those songs, we had to love a song for months.
Yes.
And then we got excited.
Yes, and you don't get that luxury
we got excited
anymore.
when the remix came out.
Exactly.
Right? And then it went another 6 months, and now we just have this nonstop barrage. So I also don't think that we don't have the opportunity to have that anthem anymore, like sink in and saturate, because we're so wanting more. So you can ask your last question. I mean, or I'm not going to tell you what to do.
We don't want to say a message. I just want to say, is there anything that you want to say that we haven't asked you about anything?
Oh my gosh.
I'm single.
Me too, unfortunately. What is
Is
that
the
about?
man in the green shorts single?
He is, well, no, actually he's not single anymore. But he's a wonderful hairstylist.
Hey.
He's an amazing hairstylist.
We were talking about you. I was asking if you were single.
Hey, kitty girl.
And I understand you are not, but I can understand why.
So I have a dear friend that's over in France, and when I told him that I'd be seeing you this weekend, he sent me a message and he said, please, he said, tell her James from Paris sends kisses. And I said, well, is she going to know? And he said, no. He said, but tell her I saw her on stage at Gay in London. I think it was around 1998. It was my first gay club before coming out. And every time I think of it, I think of her, and she is so wonderful.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Actually, we call it GAY.
GAY, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
GAY.
GAY. And GAY was legendary and a very special vibe. So tell him thank you. I appreciate that. That was good times. And to your question, things that are happening. Actually, the Ultra album is being re-released.
So good.
This summer.
So good.
Looks like August. And there will be some new goodies on it. It's a deluxe version of the Ultra album. So there'll be some new goodies added to it, and it'll be coming out on all formats. So all of my physical product, folks out there that love vinyl, that still love vinyl, it'll be released on all formats. So yeah.
And where do people find and follow?
I'm on all the social networks, even TikTok, which I do not love, so you're not going to see a lot there. But I'm mainly, on Instagram. Everything's under Ultra Naté. Instagram is Ultra Naté Music. I'm on Facebook for those that are still Facebookers. I'm on Twitter for those that still can live through Twitter. What that is right now is a hot mess, but we're still there. And
we put our arms around you.
Absolutely.
So one of the greatest dance artists of our time, Billboard magazine, right here.
So with Ultra Naté,
and a soulful lady.
And a soulful lady.
So with Ultra Naté, I'm Nicholas Snow with Jonathan P. Mugridge with a very fabulous interview that we will always remember and share with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, loves. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for all that you do.
Hi, what's up, guys? I'm Ultra Naté, and you're watching PromoHomo.TV.
And she's fabulous. I love her, and I enjoyed that interview. And let's bring back Jonathan. How does it feel to relive that, Jonathan?
It was great. It was to see it actual from a third person. She was just so she just carries it. Like, she's so deep in you can tell she has depth, and it was just so enriching. That interview was so enriching. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to do it.
Oh, she's amazing, and I congratulate you, Jonathan, because I think that was a situation where team interviewers were perfect, because you have a deep knowledge of Ultra and her music, and I love to frame things under the current context, and also her deep relationship to the fight against HIV and AIDS. It's fantastic. So you're going to get goosebumps again, because we're going to actually play her performance. So I've been covering the White Party for years now, and the Tea Dance, and I think I've mastered how to get fantastic footage of the concerts at the Tea Dance. Would you concur? I'm begging for compliments.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. We know where to stay. We know where to go. We know how high we got to be, and we know what we got to do.
Well, with that, we're going to play Ultra Naté's performance of Free at White Party Global's Tea Dance 2023. And you're going to want to stay tuned, and Jonathan and I will be back with a final word after this amazing
My brother is in need, but can he depend on me? Do you think if one of you tried, maybe you could find a better friend than any other? If you gave more than you took, life would be so good. Come on and try, now's the time, 'cause you're free to do what you want to do. You got to live your life, do what you want to do. 'Cause you're free to do what you want to do. You got to live your life, do what you want to do. 'Cause you're free. Are you feeling tonight? Where's Palm Springs, let's go! Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. You got to live your life. Do what you want to do. Can you sing it with me? Where did we go wrong? Where did we lose our faith? My brother is in need, but can he depend on me? Do you think if one of you tried, maybe you could find a better friend than any other? If you gave more than you took, life could be so good. Come on and try, now's the time, 'cause you're free to do what you want to do. You got to live your life, do what you want to do. Somebody sing it with me, what? 'Cause you're free to do what you want to do. You got to live your life and do what you want to do. 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 What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah. When you're free, you're free, you're free. You're free, you're free, you're free. You're free. You got to live your. Let's go, let's go. You got to live your.
I could listen to that all day and all night. What about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, it was so great. She's such a wonderful human being. It was just after our interview with her, like listening to the lyrics of her music, it just has so much more meaning to it now that I've actually heard the place where it comes from.
Yeah, and and I'm just I'm honored that you and I got to create this broadcast because she's certainly worthy of this sort of media attention and this opportunity for a comprehensive interview.
Absolutely.
And I love it when I can do long form interviews. I mean, yes, people watch TikTok. I like to produce long form videos.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. What other outlets do we have to be able to sit down and interview an artist such as herself? It's hard to come by nowadays because it's so, we're such a pop mainstream society that we usually have to go to certain niches in order to really hear the extent of these type of artists. And as I mentioned during the interview, her new album Ultra is so good. It is so good. It's one of those albums that you can just put on, hit play, and just go about your day and not have to worry about skipping through it. The tracks are
So
so good.
in the interview, she mentioned it was going to be out in August, but it's actually out now.
The she was talking about a deluxe edition with, I believe,
Okay.
some remix and some new songs.
Oh, fantastic! Which is coming out
Yeah,
in August. Oh,
yeah.
okay, perfect. So, any last thoughts about Ultra other than Ultra? I love you. Jonathan loves you, and thank you. Anything else you want to say before I let our viewers know about some things they don't want to miss?
It was it was an extreme pleasure to do that interview with you, Nicholas, and with Ultra, and I look forward to the next as always. And if anything, I'm ready to see an actual full concert from her. I love
Okay.
that. That was just such a snippet.
Okay, then. Well, that would be
And happy
fabulous.
Pride. And happy Pride. Love
Yes.
is love.
Totally. I saw that you did. You order a whole bag, or did you? Because I saw that photo of the Love Is Love albums on Facebook.
Yeah, I did. I actually ordered a whole bag of them. I was motivated by our current political nature to make sure I've got plenty that I can hand out to people.
Well, I want
Because
one.
love
Save
is,
one for me.
it's already got your name on it.
So I want people to know, if you see this in time, that the Big Gay Barbecue is happening for those of you who are in Palm Springs or coming to Palm Springs. It's happening in the Arenas District, June 24th from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. If you go to pspride.org, there's opportunities to buy your ticket, and there's also opportunities to volunteer. It's going to be a big block party on Arenas, and the goal behind it is to raise money for to keep Pride free, because our Pride Festival in Palm Springs takes place in November and it's free, but we need to have
Amazing.
sponsors and we need to have fundraisers to make it all happen. So the Big Gay Party Barbecue is an opportunity to do that. Also, go ahead.
So are you secretly telling me what our next project is going to be?
Well, we are. I am. You're welcome to join me. I'm going to go live from the Big Gay Barbecue at 5 p.m. that day. I'm going
2 blocks down the road.
Right, I'm going live at 5 p.m. every day in June. Well, I'm broadcasting every day in June at 5 p.m., originating on my Facebook page. Excuse me, my YouTube channel. I'm originating all my broadcasts in June on my YouTube channel, and then I'll roll them out on my other social media to prioritize my YouTube viewers, youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV network. So tomorrow, June 2nd, I'm doing an encore presentation of the Drag for Drag rally that happened in April 18th. And it's just still as important as ever to get these messages out and to combat hate. And Lance, yes, that includes weekends. Every single day of June, I'm gonna have a broadcast at 5 p.m.
That's a commitment.
They won't always be live, but yes, the answer is yes. So yeah, I'm gonna do an encore of the Drag for Drag rally coverage, and you were there, right? You ended up we bumped into each other.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great turnout. I was actually really moved by that. It was great to see the support. It was great to see the support because they really are a staple in our community. Political figures, entertainment wise, groundbreakers. They definitely deserve the love that was there to give them that day.
Completely.
And Palm Springs is a sanctuary city for drag queens.
Yes, and the theme of Palm Springs Pride 2023 is Drag Now, Drag Forever. So you heard it here. You didn't hear it here first, because I know that the word got out. They broke the news that day at the drag rally. What are your big Pride Month plans, Jonathan?
My gosh, I would like to actually attend a Pride event I have, other than San Diego, more than a decade ago. I've never really attended any Pride events. LA, WeHo, Long Beach. I haven't been to any.
Well, my goal this year is daily broadcast in Pride Month. My goal last year was to broadcast live in their entirety, and I accomplished this goal. The Pride parades in San Diego, Long Beach, LA, and West Hollywood. I broadcast all 4 of those parades in their entirety, and of course, you help me with the official broadcast every year of the Palm Springs Pride Parade. And all of that is at PromoHomo.TV in the itinerary section. Itinerary is the travel show. So, well, I hope that you get your butt to a Pride festival, and you know, in your other life, you're a flight attendant, and you get to fly all over the world, so you have options, girl.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, okay, I really need to plan it so where I can be somewhere, so I can just hop on a train and go in there. And I found a shirt that I already want to wear. It. I've tried to wear it for the show. It hasn't arrived in time, but it has the Golden Girls, and then in rainbow it has Legends right below it. It's it's a great reason to dress up and to remember that our fight is not over, and to take pride in who we are just by existing and making a difference, by knowing that it is okay to be gay. Did you know that I was gay? Yeah, did you know?
Did you know? I did know that. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Someone said to me, "Are you a homosexual?" And I said, "I'm not sure, but I'm a hopeful sexual."
I love it.
On that note, I'm going to wrap the show, Jonathan, but stay there in the where you are, and we can talk off camera afterwards. And thank you again for your love, your friendship, and your professional collaboration.
Absolutely. Thank you.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain top.